Hi there, Steve here again. I'm just going to share with you some trials and tribulations that I've had recently experimenting with AI and the development of training materials. My goal when I started out was to try and find some tools that would help me develop a script for some short videos that would explain technical subjects to non-technical people. And also I wanted to include a quiz in these videos, which would eventually end up as an e-learning course. So I tried a few AI tools, and what I ended up with were two. One is called Perplexity, and the other is called QuestionWell. So I'll quickly go through the process I used to develop a training text, then a script for the video, and then some questions for the quiz at the end of the video. So I'll quickly show you how I use, first up, Perplexity to develop the script for that. Well, not the script, the training manual to start off with. Perplexity is an AI tool which actually combines two other AI tools into one. Now I have the Pro version. What the Pro version does is it gives me the choice to choose between just Perplexity, just GPT-4, or just Claude 2.1. So what the Perplexity model does, it actually combines both GPT-4 and Claude 2. GPT-4 is more of an analytical, hard-talking tool, whereas Claude 2 is a lot more eloquent with its speech and its text delivery. So Claude 2 is great for natural speaking and natural sounding text, whereas GPT-4 with its internet access will dig up all sorts of information for you. And what my Pro version allows me to do is to select one or the other of these two. This experimental one is new, I haven't actually tried it out yet. But the Pro version allows me to choose one or the other depending on which type of text or response I'm looking for. Usually the Perplexity model works fine, but what I do with my process is actually use Claude 2 to convert the outputted text into more colloquial spoken language that I can then use on the video itself, which is my overall objective. So I'm going to leave this on default, which is a combination of those two models. And I'm going to go up here and start a new thread. And just like any AI program, I'm going to give it a prompt and see what it comes back with. So I'm going to write in here, I want a training manual for non-tech staff that, and this is where some of your knowledge as a subject matter expert comes in. If you're teaching about a subject you know about, then you can put in nice specific prompts and you will get the results you want. Of course, I'm going to proofread the end result when I've finished because I am a subject matter expert in automotive, so I can check the text and just make sure that it makes sense. So I want a training manual for non-technical staff that explains the braking system on a modern car. So I'll try that, and down here I've got this Copilot function, which is a feature of Perplexity that allows Perplexity to ask me follow-up questions. ChatGPT does this to a certain extent, but Copilot actually is a little bit more intuitive and it tries to help me rather than just clarify. So I've got Copilot switched on. I'm going to click the go button and see what Perplexity comes back with. And here's Copilot asking a question. What specific aspects of the braking system would you like your training manual to cover? Components and functions? Yes, please. Common issues? Yes, please. Safety precautions? Yes, please. And I send that away. So now Perplexity will come back with a response that may need tweaking. It may need some additions. It may be too detailed. It may not be detailed enough, but you never know until you actually see it. So the braking system of a car is composed of these specific components. They all look good. They all look good. Common issues and maintenance. They look good, but it doesn't seem to really be telling us how the brakes work, does it? Doesn't tell us how the actual components interact with each other. So I can ask a follow-up. Please add to the above more detail about how the individual components operate, but don't delete any of your current content. And I found you've got to tell these AI programs not to delete what it's already written. If you don't say that, then it'll start afresh with your new request. So we'll see what it does now. And we've got questions. Which specific components of the braking system would you like to know more about? Well, master cylinder, yes. Brake booster, yes. Brake calipers, yes. Brake pads and shoes. Yeah, pretty much everything there. So we want a longer, more detailed response. And remember, we're combining the Claude response with the GPT-4 response here. So we're getting internet trawling as well as good, eloquent speaking. Yeah, we've got quite a nice detailed response there now. It's building up more information. Look, it's even come back and told us that a disc is also sometimes called a rotor. So we've got all of this information. That's great. You can see here those safety precautions and common issues have disappeared. So I would have to go back now, add another prompt to tell Perplexity to include those safety precautions and common issues and maintenance in the text. I won't do that now, but that's how you have to do things with these AI programs. You have to massage it until we get the result we want. So I've got that text here. Now what I'm going to do is switch over to Claude only, because I know Claude is much more eloquent. Switch to Claude there. I'm going to go back to my library. Now these threads, or yeah, they're called threads, they're stored in this library, so you can always go back to them and keep adding more prompts to them, or to modify the text that you've produced. So I'm going to ask now with Claude engaged, please rewrite your in language to table 4 and insert. Add a few new DLN. And this just makes it a little bit more real by adding these. Have I spelled that right? Oh, it'll figure it out. Adding these local colloquialisms. I can always delete them later on, but it just makes it a little bit more natural. So add those colloquialisms. Please don't delete any of the subjects you have already about. And we'll see what comes out of that. So please provide specific components. Look, I'm just going to skip that and see what comes out. And again, you have to massage the prompts to get the results you want. This can quite often be extremely amusing when the results come back. Here we go. And we've gone back to the type of writing that we had in the first response. So we're not having much luck here. I'm going to stop that. So that wasn't a great answer. So I'll go back again and tell it to rewrite using Claude 2. And we'll see what we get out of that. We'll put in all of them in there and see what we get. Now we've got results that sound like a video script, a video voiceover. So how the brakes work on your car, bro? So when you put your foot on the anchors in your ride to slow down, here's what's going under the hood, mate. That's the sort of thing you get out of Claude. It's hilarious. On disc brakes, you've got calipers that clamp down on the disc like a crayfish on a juicy bit of bait. And as I said, you can cut down these colloquialisms as much as you want. So I might cut down a few of those before I send this across to QuestionWell. But overall, this would make a pretty entertaining video, I think. So this is our basic narrative for our instruction video. What I'm going to do now is I'll leave those colloquialisms in there for the moment. I don't need to cut and paste this. I can just go bang down here, copy. And now what I'm going to do is go into QuestionWell. So here's the app QuestionWell. I'm going to paste the text into here. I'm going to give it a topic, how car brakes work. Learning outcomes, I'm not going to worry about those at the moment because it's optional. And I'm going to go into here and say generate question set. And what this is going to do, it's going to first isolate some of the key learning goals, the key learning points. And second, it will then generate a whole lot of multi-choice and fill in the space questions that can be matched to this text. And here we go with our questions. So you can see on the right hand side we've got all of our multi-choice questions. What is the purpose of the brake booster in a car's braking system? To amplify the pressure from the brake pedal. That's great. That's excellent. It's exactly right. Which type of caliper has pistons on one side and slides back and forth on pins? A floating caliper. That's absolutely correct. So again, me being a subject matter expert, I can go through and check all of these questions to make sure they make sense. But what I do before I actually commit to using these questions, we end up with quite a few irrelevant questions every now and then because we've got too many learning outcomes. So what I usually do is after I've generated the questions once using QuestionWell, I'll go back to the top, I'll hit this, go back to the reading pane, which is where I pasted in my text down the bottom here. You can see here it's actually populated all of those learning outcomes that were produced in the previous step. So what I can do now is go down here and just delete the learning outcomes that aren't relevant to this particular subject. So recognize the different types of calipers and their function in disc brakes. That's not overly important. We don't need to focus on that. Reflect on the importance of safe driving practices. Yes, it's important, but it's not the topic of this particular course. Explain the function of master cylinder brake booster. Yes, leave that. Understand the role of friction. Yes, leave that. Compare disc and drum brakes. Yes, I want that because this course is about brakes. Determine the relationship between the brake pedal and activation of the braking system. No, don't need that. Formulate a basic understanding. Yes. Evaluate the importance of regular maintenance. Yes. Analyze the role of hydraulic pressure. No, that's not overly important. So I've narrowed down these outcomes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, ideally I'd only want 4. So is there one that I can get rid of there? I'll get rid of the friction one. 4 is a good number. And then I'll generate the question set again. And now the questions will be more focused on the overall objective of this learning, which is to learn about brakes. QuestionWell is also a paid subscription, and I'll show you that in a moment. There is a free version of Perplexity, but you don't get the choice to switch between Claude and GPT-4. And here we have a new question set. So what I can do now is I can export all of this to Microsoft Word, for example. Unfortunately, this here, the vocabulary, doesn't get exported to Microsoft Word for some strange reason. So you've got to sort of cut and paste the vocabulary. And look at this. In the vocabulary, you've got a Wikipedia link to it as well. So let's look at pistons. Wikipedia. There's a link to the Wikipedia explanation for what a piston is. So I export all of the questions and the learning objectives to Word. And then I cut and paste the vocabulary into Word, which I then pare down again. I mean, I don't need words like pins in the brake explanation. And now I have a script for my video, and I have a set of quiz questions that I can now use to make a really entertaining instruction video with a quiz, insert that into an e-learning, for which I use Articulate Rise, and all of my work is done in perhaps a day or two rather than a week or two. I was going to show you the QuestionWell pricing, and there it is there. So free plan, $7 a month or $70 per year. You know, that's nothing. So I'm on the $70 per year plan. And those are my two AI course development tools, Perplexity and QuestionWell. Try them out. If you have any questions, drop me a comment. Take it easy, keep writing great learning courses, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.